All right, what's up and welcome back to Freelancer Talks. Today we're talking about building a team for your freelance business. First off, do you want to do that? And if you do, how do you do it? Where do you find these people? How do you write job descriptions? How do you set wages? How do you do all of this stuff? Don't worry, calm down. Watch today's video. We'll talk about everything. That's right, it's Tuesday, so I'm staring down the barrel of more of your questions right here in the comments section. Keep them coming. If you have a question about freelancing, anything that you're doing relating to freelancing, working, starting a business, growing, all that stuff, leave it for me in the comments section and I'll throw it into a video because this is your channel. And I do this every single week. I answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 questions a video, and we have a good time, so make sure you leave those for me. And if you're wondering why you care, my name is Joel and I'm a 20-year freelancer. I've been doing this since dinosaurs roamed the earth, and now I have a successful business because I was a freelancer and eventually I built a team, which is our topic for today. So the question that we are going to start this answer with, that's right, starting an answer with a question is, do you want to build a team? Before we can talk about whether or not you need to build a team or how to do that effectively, you should ask yourself, do you even want to do that? Because one thing that I find freelancers getting caught up in all the time is trying to fulfill somebody else's dream or somebody else's version of success. If your version of success looks like freelancing on the side of a 9-to-5 that you already love for the rest of your life or the next 5 years or the next 10 years, that is totally fine. Bravo, congratulations, because at least you know what you want to do. Not every single person is freelancing because they want to start a full-time gig, get away from their 9-to-5 that's strangling them, be on their own. Maybe they don't want that pressure. Maybe they just want to work on their own. Maybe they do want to do it full-time, but they only want to do it under their own power. They don't want to manage people. They don't want systems. They don't want processes. They don't want all the headache that comes with it. And I think it's admirable up front to ask yourself that question and say, do I really want this? So if it's not something you want, then just skip this video, go to next week's video. We'll see you on Friday rather, and we can talk about something else because not everybody is cut out to manage a team or grow a freelance career into a business. It has to be something you want and you desire to do. But if you do, I believe the rewards are worth the trouble because you can transition from just a freelancer to a leader or even more importantly, a part of a team. You can share the work with people. You can not only achieve more together, but you can have more fun doing it. For years, I thought I wanted to be a freelancer all on my own because managing people is hard and I'd had bad experiences with it in the past. But what I realized was I didn't like managing the wrong people, or rather, I didn't like managing problem people. When you build a team, you get to make sure that everybody in the stable is a thoroughbred. You can keep the donkeys out. You get to choose the people that you put on your team, and therefore you have a lot more say and a lot more responsibility in the dynamic and culture of your team. So I think it can be a really exciting thing if you're in for it, and it can lead to great things. Like in my case, just totally not what I set out to do, but was a freelancer that got super busy, needed some help, hired a virtual assistant, needed some more help, taught somebody to do some of the other things I was doing, needed some more help, hired a full-time assistant and administrator, and then it built up to a team of now 6 going on 7 people in a real legit incorporated business. So it's something that I can say with great pride is worth all the trouble if you want to do it. But today I'm going to share with you 4 things that can help you build a great team around your freelancing career, knowing that for you, these might be a little ways off. Some of you might be right on the cusp, like I need to hire somebody yesterday. But others of you might be looking at these things and saying it'll be 4, 5, 6 years before I get there. Maybe not that long, maybe a year or 2. But I believe if it's your desire, if you've identified it to be your desire to have a team, someone to help you share this load, then you need to be thinking about these things now. So when you reach that point, you can simply flip the switch, not go, wow, I should have done this a long time ago like I did. Every single hire until this last year had been retroactive in my in my life and business. Your hires should be proactive, meaning we're right here. We just reached this milestone. Now I'm going to hire somebody to help, and we're going to continue to go, and it's going to be even greater. So here are 4 things that I think you should think about and you should do before you hire anybody to help you build a team. The first thing is you need to establish core values. Now, these can be very personal in the beginning because you are the freelancer, you are the business, right? But you need to establish some core values for your business, because as soon as there's more than one of you, it's a business. You're a freelancer when it's just you. You own your job. But when there's 2 of you and you're paying someone to complete a portion of the work, it's now a business and you're now a leader. I don't like the word boss. Bosses stink. Leaders are where it's at. So you need to establish core values. Hey, what are things that we're going to do on every project, with every customer, every client, things that we're going to let guide our work? What are the values? Maybe it's honesty, integrity, quick turnaround time, low prices, or maybe great value for the money. What are these things that are imperative to what you're doing, and how do I quantify them? Not so I can put them on a wall one day, but that I can actually use them to guide every single interaction I have with the customer, every single decision we make in the business. If you establish some core values, and these don't have to be crazy, but some tenets for which you actually will use as a guidepost for the rest of your life or your entirety as a business, then it will make decisions much easier. Do I hire this person? Well, does this person fit within the core values? Do they share my core values and beliefs? Then it's a good hire. They can be taught skills and abilities and become more proficient at things. But if they don't share your core values, if they're not the right person, they're never going to fit. The reason that this is important is because the very first step, the addendum to this first step, is that you need to establish core values so you know who you can trust before you hire anybody. Because the most important part of hiring someone to be on your team is knowing you can trust them. The second you can't trust someone, you need to let them go. I've learned this lesson the hard way before, having someone on the team that I didn't quite trust, but thinking that maybe it would come in time, and it never did. Turned out to be a very bad decision, and this bad decision leaked out over more than a year. So I should have taken action earlier. Establish core values so you know who you can trust. Don't hire someone you don't trust, and then make sure you don't keep someone on your team that you lose trust with. No matter how it happens, if you lose trust with someone, they shouldn't be on your team, because it's very important that you're able to trust the people working for you and with you every day. So establish core values, know who you can trust. The second thing is that you need to clearly outline the key results areas for the team member you want to hire. We call these KRAs. I've stolen this from my good friend Dave Ramsey and his EntreLeadership stuff. Fantastic set of instruction from him. Fantastic book if you've never read it. But they say you should define the key results areas for every single team member that you want to hire in your new business. Remember, you were a freelancer, now you're a business. Key results areas simply mean you're defining success for that person. I want you to come in and do these tasks. That's a horrible way to hire. You don't want to write a job description. Job descriptions are lame. You want to write a definition for success, because the truth is, somebody can come in and every day do the things you ask them to do, but not succeed in the job, right? They can do them poorly. They can do them half-heartedly. They can do them with the lack of attention to detail that you want. Define success. Write down what are the key results we need to see in the key areas for this team member, and put them out there from the very beginning so that each person coming to you, coming to your team, can look and say, this is what success looks like. So if I do it like this, I know I have succeeded. I don't even need to ask the leader if I've succeeded. I have the KRA in front of me. So clearly outline these things, write them down, put them on a piece of paper, even hand them to the person. I love doing this because it sets the expectation. This is even a contract of sorts between you and the team member. These are the expectations. If you're not going to follow these or live up to these, we need to find someone else to do this job. And it makes it much easier when they're not living up to these key result areas for you to say, it's time for us to find somebody else, which is always hard. But it's a little easier if things are clearly defined. The third thing that you need to think about before adding a team member is you need to consider their location. Now, this was a part of the question that many of you asked. You asked, should I start out with a physical business, an office, a space, or should it all be done virtual? I can tell you that in 20 years of freelancing, I've been on my own in my home probably 90% of the time. There was a small period of time where I had a little office away from my home, and it was nice, but it really wasn't that necessary. The rest of the time I've worked from home, so I'm very used to it. But not everybody is used to working at home. I'll say that in the beginning, and especially in this culture, it's much easier to work remotely for everyone, but there are those times when you're going to need accessibility to people, whether it's just to sit across a table from them and look them in the eye. Maybe it's during an important project, or when problems arise. It's much easier to do in person than virtually. So think about not only where this person located, but what about their time zones? Are we going to be communicating in the same work day? Do they need to talk to customers in a certain time zone? So if you hire someone in America on the West Coast who's on Pacific time, not specific time, Pacific time, and you live on the East Coast, that's a 3-hour difference, and they may be getting up when you're eating lunch. And if you want your business to operate on Eastern time, that's a problem. So I think it's a foregone conclusion that everybody's probably going to do a bit of virtual work to begin with, unless you're the rare business that goes from freelancing and already has a physical office that someone needs to come to. But when you pick someone to work virtually, you need to make sure their location is key. They're in the right time zone that works for you. Doesn't have to be the same as long as it works. And you have to be okay with how quickly you can get to that person. If they're 2 hours away, sometimes you need to get in the car and drive 2 hours to work something out or to figure something out. But if they live across the country, that's not feasible. And so that might be a deal breaker for you. But consider their location and all the different factors that come into play with the person's location that might affect your business when you bring them on. That even means if this person is in a different country. Now, I personally have never worked with a team member in another country. My business is US based, 100% US based. We don't have anyone outside of America just because it's easier for me to keep tabs with people who are in the same country, dealing with the same systems, and in relatively the same time of day as I am. We're never more than 2 hours apart versus time zones. But if you're working with someone on the other side of the country, you could be 12 or 14 hours apart, and that could sometimes cause issues. So think about location. Now, number 4, the fourth tip for hiring team members is that you need to hire slowly. This is one thing that is very hard to do when you're buried and you need help. If you wait until your freelance business needs help like a year ago, then you're going to hire someone quickly. In fact, you'll probably hire the first person you see, or the first person that seems legit or seems halfway able to handle or convince you they are able to handle the job that you need done. But the truth is, you need to hire slowly. Now, I say this as someone who has gotten faster at hiring as time has gone on. And that's because I really skip the first 3 steps now. And in new hires, in fact, the team member we just added to the team already had the first 3 boxes checked before we even spoke. So I knew that they shared values with me. I knew what I wanted them to do, and so did they. And I knew where they lived, which was very in close proximity to where I lived. So those 3 things were already checked off the list, and I could really make a hiring decision quickly. But the truth is, unless you have a great deal of experience with a person, knowing them personally or being in close proximity to their work or knowing people that can personally recommend them, you need to take a long time to get to know this person. In fact, when adding new team members, I always put a 30-day trial period into action, meaning, hey, I think you're a good fit for this. I'm going to let you run with it. But the first 30 days are really just a trial. There's no obligation. If you aren't right for this, you can walk away and I won't be upset. But if I don't think you're right for this, I can ask you to step aside and we're going to find somebody else. And don't be upset, because sometimes it takes a couple weeks of actually working with a person to determine whether or not they're the right fit. Now, I realize not everybody can take a job with a 30-day trial as kind of a requirement, but it's key in order to not get the wrong person in there and feel stuck with the wrong person in the wrong seat doing the wrong thing. So All this to say, if you hire slowly, you'll feel more confident in your decision, and you'll make sure that you're looking at the aspects of this person that will actually be helpful toward the job they're going to be doing. Too many people hire someone they like. And I agree, you should like all the people you work with. I've never hired someone I didn't like at the beginning. But the hard part is hiring people you like doesn't always mean hiring the right people. So you need to be slow about it. You need to talk to other people, not just the references they list. I would suggest not ever hiring anyone that couldn't come with a personal recommendation from someone you already know and trust. That narrows your field dramatically. I get it. Not everybody can do that. But that's the way I have chosen to do it. And it comes with much greater results when I do that. Now, the second part of point number 4 is that you hire slowly, but you fire quickly. This is something that I've struggled with in the past, as I've said, because no one likes to fire someone. In fact, I don't even like that word. No one likes to let someone go. No one likes to remove someone from a position, especially if they think they're doing it well. But the truth is, the moment you can't trust someone, the moment their values don't align with yours, the moment you realize they can't live up to the KRAs, the key result areas. And the moment you know that some factor is not going to work, you need to say, this is not working. We both need to move on. It's going to be hard. Sometimes there's hurt feelings, but hire slowly, fire quickly, because otherwise it's going to damage your business. The longer you leave somebody in a position, a team member doing something that they're not really well suited to do, the more damage it's going to do to you and your business. It's going to just like erode away at your attitude. It's going to make life difficult, and it's going to change the way you view your business. It might take it from something you enjoy doing to something you now hate, and nobody wants that. Now, the other part of this is that you don't always have to fire someone. Sometimes you might need to just adjust their responsibilities. I've done this many times within my team where you get somebody on the team for one specific purpose, then you realize that's not really the thing they're best at. They're best at this. I would rather have them doing this over here. Move them. Talk to them about it. Say, I see this. I would rather move you over. And they might be much happier doing that other thing. You never know. So when you see those things, open your mouth, speak up. And I believe these 4 things, these 4 tips will help you to hire the right people at the right time, and make sure that when you hire them, these are people that can stay with you for a long time. You know, I've had one team member that's been with me for almost 5 years. I have a team member that's been with me for less than 5 days as of today. And it's really cool to see that I feel like I have a similar relationship with the person who's been here 5 years as I do the person that's been here 5 minutes, because we hire with a shared set of values and everything is clear and laid out. And I feel like our working relationship, though it does get stronger over time, it's strong in the beginning too. And so just make sure that you really think things through before asking someone to do something for you, because the last thing I want for you is to ruin the business that you've worked so hard to create, or maybe the passion that you have for the thing that you already do. Well, thanks so much for watching today's video. Like I said at the beginning, if you have a question, leave it for me down below. And if you enjoyed this content, feel free to throw me a thumbs up and subscribe for more great content. I do this every Tuesday. I answer questions about Fiverr.com on every Friday. It's a hoot. It's a hootenanny. It's a lot of fun. It's a hillbilly roundup of business expertise, and I want you to be a part of it. So make sure you come back, and until then, keep doing, because the future favors the doers.